With manifestation, specifically like the way I manifest, a lot of delusion goes into it. The universe is a person and it's doing you a favor. And who wants to do a favor for someone who's not appreciative? No one. So one of my favorite things to say is that I know everything is going to work out. I just don't know how. I think it kind of drives my husband crazy, but it works out, so he can't complain too much. So if you're new here, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. I make all sorts of videos about being a mom, about obviously manifesting, our family, lifestyle, just whatever. So if you would like to, please subscribe, comment, like this video, let me know what you think. And let's get into it. I am obsessed with manifesting and the universe, and I think that you really have to speak into fruition what you want and kind of put out in the universe, and things will just work out. So I really wanted to make this video for a while. I have a 1-year-old and I am 19 weeks pregnant, so I am struggling. But I finally got my son down for a nap today. The stars aligned and I can make this video. So I'm going to talk about like manifesting in general and then specific ways you can manifest, and I will leave timestamps below so you can skip around.
And you don't have to buy anything for this. I know a lot of people like talk about crystals and all of that, which is great, but that's not what this video is about.
We're going off of like vibes and what's worked for me. I'm just like a normal person who's a little like woo-woo sometimes. So one of my favorite things to say is that I know everything is going to work out. I just don't know how. That's like how I go about life. I think it kind of drives my husband crazy, but it works out, so he can't complain too much. But when we were talking about moving, getting a job, finding a place to rent, and we weren't having luck, or you just kind of start to get down, and I'm just like, it's gonna work out. It's what I always say, it's gonna work out. It's just gonna work out. Like, trust that it's gonna work out, and it always does. So this is just like everyday stuff I kind of put into practice or do, and then I'll give you literal things that you can do if you want more structure to your manifestation. Hopefully this helps. The first thing that I would say that I do and that you can do too is to be specific about what you want to work out. And the more specific, the better. The way that I do this is I'll be like, oh, you're going to get the job. We're going to get the job. We're going to get the house. We're going to get the loan. The money is going to come through. I just like say those sorts of things all the time in everyday life. So just be specific about what you want in saying those things out loud. If you're hoping to be able to land this job, just be saying, oh, I'm gonna get the job, it's gonna work out, I'm gonna get this position. Like maybe it's not a specific job, but like I know I'm gonna get that role, I know I'm gonna land this career path. The more you talk about it, the more likely it is to happen. And also I think the more you say stuff like that, the more you believe it, and the more the universe wants to provide it for you, because it knows what you want. You don't know what someone wants if they don't ask, so ask the universe. The second thing that kind of goes along with that is to believe what you're saying. When I started doing this, I think there was a lot of imposter syndrome or feeling silly saying these things, but the more you practice it, the easier it is, and the easier it is to believe. With manifestation, specifically like the way I manifest, a lot of delusion goes into it, and not in a bad way. Like I would never put my family or finances at risk, but I think the more you believe and buy in, the more likely things are gonna happen. I said earlier, everything's gonna work out. I say that a lot. Everything's gonna work out. It's just gonna happen. I don't know the specifics, I don't know the plan, I just know that the end goal is going to happen. The more you do that and buy in, I think it really helps not only the universe, but also it builds your own confidence in yourself. Like I think that I hold out longer on things because I think they're gonna work out. Whereas if I didn't believe or I didn't buy in that the universe was gonna like take care of it or that it was gonna happen, I may take a different path. So for example, we moved across the state at the beginning of the year. We were looking for a house to rent, and I came down twice to look at stuff, and I just wasn't finding what I wanted. Like there were decent options, it just wasn't like the one. And my husband was kind of, just pick. We're not buying it, we're renting it. Just pick something, it's gonna be fine. And I was like, no, the right one's gonna come along. We still have time, I'm not worried. And I think if I hadn't believed that, I may have jumped on something else. But what ended up happening is we heard from somebody that lived in town that had a rental property. They didn't have it listed anywhere. It was all word of mouth. We came down, we looked at it, and I was like, this is the one. This is perfect. Done. Let's rent it. Let's move in. So I think buying in, being delusional, taking time, it really helps in the overall manifesting and getting what you want. The next two are kind of being in tune with the universe and manifestation, and they're gonna kind of sound silly. Like I said, I'm delusional, I'm buying in, all this stuff works for me, so I'm just gonna share what works for me. The next thing is appreciate everything that works out. I always in advance will say, I know it's gonna work out, it's gonna be fine. And so after it does work out, it's always like, oh, I knew it was gonna work out. I knew that was gonna happen. I'm grateful that the universe provided, and almost like showing appreciation for the universe providing whatever it was that worked out. Thanking the universe for a good day, even something small, just showing the appreciation. I think if you listen to other people talk about manifesting, it's kind of like the universe is a person and it's doing you a favor. And who wants to do a favor for someone who's not appreciative? No one. So the more you appreciate what's happening and recognizing the positive things that are happening, the more likely good things are going to happen. And I know part of that is also confirmation bias. When you start to notice positive things, you're more likely to notice more positive things, which I definitely think attributes to that. But be grateful. Thank the universe. Thank you. Let them know that you're grateful for your outcome. And then the inverse of that, which I just started doing, and I think works, and also it's just good juju, is to apologize for mistakes that you make to the universe. So for example, you know you did something wrong, like maybe you didn't follow through on something, or you lied about something, or you weren't your best self, and you know that. I think apologizing and saying like, I'm sorry, I know I shouldn't have done that, I won't do it again. Being accountable for yourself, but also letting the universe know that, kind of like how we talked about, like if the universe is a person, you don't want to do things for somebody who can't recognize when they make mistakes. So for me, a lot of it is I can be very judgmental. I'm working on it, but it's not great. And so I always try to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Or, you know, like I shouldn't have thought that. Or that was mean, you know, I'm trying to be better. So just recognizing the mistakes that you're making and letting the universe know that you're trying to improve and be a better person. So those are just everyday concepts that you could start implementing. And then I have a list of 5 things that you can physically do for manifesting that I feel have worked for me. The first thing is to create an altar. And I feel like there wasn't a lot of stuff online when I started doing this. I know the concept is out there, but there isn't a lot of like visuals and stuff. So it's hard to conceptualize what you should make. In this case, an altar is just any surface that you make a small little vignette on. So it can be like a shelf, it can be on your dresser, it can be on your counter, it can be anywhere where you see it, preferably eye level, but someplace that you can create a vignette of what you're trying to manifest. What worked for me, this is a funny story, I don't think I've shared this online, is when my husband and I in 2023 decided we were gonna have a baby, that we wanted to have a baby, I should say. I decided I was gonna make an altar for it, and we had this shelf above the toilet in our bathroom. It just like held toilet paper and a candle. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this our altar. Oh, so the other thing, you want your altar to be someplace that you're going to see it regularly. It's just a high traffic area. You don't wanna put it in a room you never go in. I decided I was gonna make this shelf our altar. I had bought all those like little ovulation and pregnancy test strips off Amazon. So I put all of them in a little jar on it. I put some seashells because we take family trips to the beach, so I was manifesting family. I put, it wasn't a lot, some coins, financially stable, like to have a child. So it wasn't like a big thing. It was, I mean, I think the whole size of my vignette was like this big. It wasn't a huge altar, but it was something that I saw every day, thought about every day, felt like I was putting my energy into manifesting, and then we got pregnant on our first try. And that's who's sleeping right now, my 1-year-old. I think altars are a really great way to put your intentions in a physical form so that you can see them regularly and think about them and put the other manifestation practices in place, talk about them, but seeing them really reminds you of what you're trying to achieve. The second one is to speak into fruition. So I talked earlier about being, you know, more vague phrases that you could say, but this is to be specific. I know I'm gonna get the job at this company. I know that by this date, we're gonna move. I know that by this year, I'm gonna have this much money in my bank account. So just being very specific, and I think the more specific, the better, because then the universe knows exactly what you're going for. You wanna say them out loud, and you can say them by yourself. You don't have to say them to someone else, but I do think telling people your manifestations, almost like in the fitness world, they say when you tell people your goals, you're held more accountable. I think when you tell people your dreams and your goals when you're trying to manifest something, that also has like a stronger impact. The third thing I've done, and it actually works really well, crazy well, which is funny to me, is a vision board. I know people talk about vision boards all the time. I've made a couple. I can link a video. I made one and I talk about like all the things that worked out on it. I have a digital one right now, which is the screensaver on my iPad. So I literally see it like every 5 minutes when I get on my iPad. For your vision board, it is another kind of like an altar, a visual representation of all the things that you want to manifest. And it doesn't have to be literal, like you can be very interpretive about what you put on your vision board. It can be very broad. Like I said, the more specific, the better. But I think since a vision board is a bigger surface, you can make a pretty big one, especially if you're doing something digital. And so it kind of gives you more creative license to include a lot of different areas. My digital vision board for this year, it is got financial goals, family goals, physical goals, social media goals, and not that everything is going to work out, but I usually think a lot of things work out. And sometimes, even though my vision boards are usually a year, like I do them for the year, sometimes things take a little longer. This is probably the one I do the least because I'm just too busy. But I think it's probably the most powerful because it takes like undivided attention, concentration, and just really puts you in a space for manifesting what you want. The fourth thing that you can do is visualization, would just be visualizing the outcome that you want. So whether it is seeing yourself in a role, if you want to get in shape, seeing yourself physically in shape, or whatever it is, daydreaming about that scenario. And so the best way that I've found to do this is to do a meditation. So you can do either guided meditations, like there's obviously thousands, probably millions of meditations on YouTube, but you could do a manifestation meditation, and then when you're doing that, you can visualize the thing that you're trying to manifest. The last actionable thing that you can do is journaling. So journaling is a great way to write down your thoughts and obviously express your feelings and emotions. I know a lot of therapists recommend it, but I think for manifestation, it really helps to put pen to paper and write down what your goals or what you want to happen to try and make them happen. So it's kind of like a vision board, but a little bit longer process. You have a lot more freedom, obviously. You're not limited to a certain number of pictures and you can write down whatever you want. So I think writing down, if you don't want to speak them out loud, you can write down what you want to happen, what your goals are or what your hopes are, and letting the universe know that way. I'm not a big journaler. I always think I will be. I just don't do it. I'm much more of an in the moment, speaking to fruition kind of person. So that's where I'm at in my manifestation journey. I have manifested a ton of things. I have a little list so I can tell you, and I can tell you kind of how I manifested them. So obviously my son, manifested him with an altar, and then this baby was manifested on accident by talking out loud too much about how I wanted another baby immediately, and then the universe was like, oh, bet, here you go. So be careful what you say out loud because words have power. We manifested our 2 jobs. My husband got a job before he moved. I knew that was going to happen. I talked about it all the time. I was like, you're going to get the job. That's literally, there wasn't another option. I was literally it's going to happen. You're going to get this job. Don't worry about it. I just know it's going to happen. And it did. And then I got a great job right after that. And I was like, when he was asking me if I had applied, I'm like, I haven't yet, but I know I'm going to get a great job. It's going to be fine. And it is. And it was. And now we both have great jobs. So those are a few things that I can think of that big things that I've manifested. Just be thinking in your everyday life about how you can implement these things, and hopefully they help you manifest what you want. Let me know what you're manifesting. I'll put some good juju out there for you. Let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, I'm just a girl on the internet who's vibing and is delusional. So everything works out for a reason. it will work out for you too. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.